Let's rock. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for April the 25th. Need the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes from the March 14th meeting. Is any deletions, changes? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Next item is an item not on consent. The North County Charter School request for administrative permit approval for a school campus expansion. This is quasi-judicial. If anyone in the audience plans to speak, I would appreciate if you'd stand and be sworn in at this time.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Since it's quasi-judicial, have any of the commissioners been contacted or had conversation with the applicant?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. McCoy.
Yes. Thank you, Chairman Hamner. John McCoy with the Planning Division. This is a request for administrative permit use for an expansion. And the expansion is, or the administrative permit use is required for the expansion because they're adding property to the charter school. And the property they're adding is the property to the south. It's labeled new parcel on the slide, and it's about 0.94 acres. It was zoned heavy commercial, which does not allow for a school use. Was recently, and you all took some action on that not too long ago, rezoned from heavy commercial to limited commercial, and that allows for the school use and the subject expansion through the administrative permit use process. This is an aerial of the subject site, and I'd like to point out a couple things to you. First of all, the circulation system that exists presently, the driveway is on the south side of the subject parcel. There's a parking loop right here, but most of the circulation system for pickup and drop-off is right through this longer segment. There's a retention area, existing buildings, playground is up in this area. This is the parcel that was added, and with the addition of that parcel, it really allows them to pretty much redevelop the site and really gain some functionality. So with that 94 acres, they're going to revise the traffic circulation plan. They're going to relocate the stormwater. They're going to relocate that playground. They're going to add a new classroom wing, and that will allow the enrollment to increase from 232 students to 402 students. This is a slide of the site plan. The access will now be from the north end of the subject site, and you can see from a queuing standpoint, it's a one-way dual circulation, so it's 2 lanes of circulation coming up and circling back. So that's a significant increase in their queuing and in their on-site stacking, which is one of the benefits of the site plan. Where the retention is going to be the new classroom wing. This is where the playground was. The retention area shifts to the south. They had some parking, and the playground also shifts to the south. So really the existing buildings are almost the only things that remain exactly where they were. So it is a almost complete redevelopment and really does add a lot of functionality to the site. As far as special conditions, they will be removing a couple specimen trees, and they'll have to submit a fee in lieu of the specimen tree removal, or mitigation, excuse me. They'll need to dedicate 14 feet of additional right-of-way for Old Dixie Highway. They'll need to execute a left turn lane agreement for a left turn that's required for that new driveway at the north end. They'll need to install the required landscape, and there's some health department conditions to comply with. On this slide, you can see that left turn lane right at the north entrance, and the right-of-way is right down at the south end of the site. For landscaping, there are some trees in this area they're going to relocate. This is also where some of the specimen oaks are that will need to be mitigated in this classroom area. There's a buffer along Old Dixie, and then some trees required adjacent to the commercial property. With that, I'd like to get to staff's recommendation. Staff does recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission grant administrative permit use approval with the conditions as stated in staff's report. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any questions of the staff?
I just have one. You list in your recommendations, you list that the things that need to be done prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. And on page 3, under Old Dixie Highway improvements, about halfway down, it says the new sidewalk is depicted on the project site plan and must be constructed prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Shouldn't that also be listed under item 3 on your recommendations?
It can be, as a matter of course. We typically haven't listed site improvements that are shown, but yes, it could be, and it'll be something that'll be looked for in the inspection. Thank you.
And with the turn lane that you change on the north part, does that interfere with the existing sidewalk? I noticed on the aerial, basically the only sidewalks are in front of the school, and so the turn lane doesn't interfere with that sidewalk?
Given the design at this point, it should not. And again, they're going to further refine that design and get a cost estimate based on the refined design. Right now, they've got it in the plan view, but they really haven't worked it horizontally to make sure that there is no, but as of right now, it does not.
John, when they looked at those oak trees, when I was up there and I looked at the design, was there no hope of going around them and saving them? I mean, they're just big oak trees, but I mean, the reality is that in lieu of, it'd be nice if we could save them. I didn't know if they had looked at, I assume they looked at that.
They did look at a couple different designs. They do have a little bit larger setbacks to meet since it's an administrative permit use, which kind of pushes them a little bit more towards the center of the site. As far as the mitigation goes, they had an arborist look at the oak trees and found one to be not in good health, which doesn't require mitigation, and then the others did, but they did evaluate some options there.
Okay, thank you. Any, would the applicant care to be heard?
Joe Biddle, Shoki Biddle and Stoddard, 3 Tarpon Drive. If you guys have any questions, the trees, we've done numerous layouts. I had the building split. We tried everything. There's actually, and I don't know if John wants to bring up the landscape plan, there's 2 sections where there's 2 sets of oaks. And the main one was by the front driveway, which we couldn't save either one.
Right.
And then the other one was where the buildings were. So
Okay.
we did try
I just
everything.
wanted to be sure. I'm sure you'd look, but I'd just make it clear. Anybody have a question of the applicant? Okay. This is an item, it's not on consent. It's not normally a public hearing, but anybody have any comments they'd like to make that? Okay. Gentlemen, we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item is, let's see, turnover of commissioners' matters. Anyone care to bring up anything? John?
Yeah, I've got one question. In the supplemental packet that you supplied to us, there was just a really excellent article on water usage, the future of water usage, and some of the fears of how that needs to be addressed. Is that something we should be addressing in Indian River County, either at the commissioner's level, or are there some proactive things that we can do about the water management as it's reflected in that article? It was about the 3rd one in. It says, time is the enemy when dealing with looming water woes in Florida.
How long has it been since we looked at this with a comprehensive plan? Was it 2 or 3 years ago, and we about putting surface water in? And I know the commissioners are looking now, because we're in agriculture, we're looking at what we call water farming in St. Lucie and potentially into Indian River County, where we would hold water west of town, keep it out of the river, and then I assume we could use it that way.
Yeah, actually, it was 5 years ago that we did our evaluation and appraisal report, and we looked at it then, and then when we did the ear-based amendments, we looked at it. Basically, the legislature, probably about 10 years ago, put in a requirement that, I'm not sure whether it was counties or local governments, had to come up with public water supply plans. We had to look and make sure that we had some plans to meet our demand in the future. And we work closely with our utilities department, and in our comp plan, you'll find it in the potable water sub-element. We have a number of initiatives there of public water supply. There needs to be a lot more studies done, but basically what we're looking at is surface water in the West County, and the water farming may be a big part of that. But yes, we have addressed that issue in the comp plan.
Well, the article does a great job of pointing out the shortcomings on the state level, and it's certainly something we need to be aware of, and that sounds like we are aware of it.
Yes.
Hold that thought, because it won't go away. Any other commissioner matters? Attorney matters?
None, sir.
Okay, well, gentlemen, short and sweet. We're stand adjourned. Oh, wait a minute, time out. I cut the staff out. How could I be so rude?
I'll take
Excuse
less
me,
than an
any
hour, Mr.
staff
Chairman. Thank you.
reports?
For the record, Stan Bowling, Planning Director. Just two things since your last meeting. The board did approve a transmittal hearing for the changes to the mixed-use land use policies in accordance with the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation. That's also staff's recommendation. So everyone's singing kumbaya at this point. For the next P&Z meeting, May 9th, we will have an item for a land development regulation amendment that the board directed staff to look at, and that just deals with the height of commercial vehicles, the maximum height of commercial vehicles parked outside in residential areas. Still tentative at this point is the possibility of a hearing also on the George Mabe Ocean Concrete appeal. Mr. Mabe's attorney, I gave him the dates in April and May. He picked the latest one, being May 9th. I confirmed this week that the attorney can be here, but he has not yet confirmed that Mr. Mabe can be here, so it's still tentative. That may or may not be on, but we will certainly have a May 9th meeting, if for no other reason than land development regulation amendment. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you. Now we stand adjourned. Thank you all.